Okay, let's dive in. We've got a really fascinating deep dive for you today.
Yeah, we're looking at Robin Sharma's The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari.
Exactly. The fable. We'll be using excerpts from the book itself.
And the focus is really on finding that inner peace, purpose, lasting fulfillment.
Right. Our mission, you could say, is to unpack the wisdom from the story of Julian Mantle.
The high-flying lawyer who, well, changed everything.
It's quite a journey from the boardroom to the Himalayas using these ancient symbols.
It really is. And it kicks off with Julian Mantle as the narrator, John, remembers him.
How was that?
Well, you know, the picture of success, brilliant lawyer, sharp dresser, driven.
The whole package, outwardly.
Outwardly, yes. But the book makes it clear he was deeply out of balance. You know, despite all the success, the mansion, the jet, he was overweight, stressed, lost his humor.
That sounds familiar, sadly. A sort of quiet desperation.
That's exactly the phrase used in the source, hiding behind that polished image.
And then came the wake-up call. A big one, wasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. A huge heart attack.
Right in the middle of court.
Right there, in front of everyone. A very public, very serious sign that things had to change.
Wow. That must have stopped him in his tracks.
It did. Career paused instantly.
And that heart attack really was the
Yeah.
trigger for it all. He didn't just, like, take sick leave.
No, not at all. He vanished.
Yeah.
Became a bit of a mystery, actually.
Vanish.
Then later, stories started coming back. This miraculous transformation.
So what did he do?
He felt this inner instruction, as he called it, and he made a huge decision.
Which was?
He sold everything.
Everything. Like the house, the car.
Everything. The estate, the private plane, even that famous red Ferrari.
Wow. Just based on an inner instruction. That takes courage.
A massive leap of faith. He took the money and just went to India.
On a spiritual quest.
Exactly. He felt compelled to find that spark he'd lost, that vitality.
So what was India like for him? Was it some kind of guided tour?
Oh, no. Far from it. The book describes him traveling really simply.
How so?
Village to village. Learning the customs, the pace of life. Just immersing himself.
Away from the pressure cooker of his old life.
Precisely. And slowly, gently, he started to feel alive and whole again.
That sounds profound.
It was. He rediscovered his curiosity. Creativity sparked up again. Enthusiasm returned.
And he started laughing again, you mentioned.
Yes. That's a key detail. He called it a tremendously liberating time.
Finding that aliveness again, that feels like the real treasure, doesn't it? More than any Ferrari.
Absolutely. And his journey eventually led him somewhere specific.
Where was that?
He started hearing these, legends, really, about the sages of Savannah.
Sages of Savannah.
Ancient yogis living way up high in the Himalayas.
Okay.
Rumored to hold secrets to, like, super long life, vitality, fulfillment.
And he felt drawn to them.
A powerful pull, yes. So he set off on this tough 7-day trek, alone.
Guided by.
Just what he called his inner compass.
An inner compass to a hidden Himalayan valley. And wasn't there something about roses? A village made of roses. Yeah, it sounds incredible, doesn't it? But that's how the source describes it.
Finding this hidden place.
He finally finds the valley, meets the first sage, and enters this sanctuary of peace.
Made of roses.
Simple huts, a temple, all apparently woven or built with roses. A place of just stunning beauty and deep calm.
And the sages themselves, were they as amazing as the place?
Apparently so. The book describes them looking incredibly youthful, sparkling eyes, hardly any wrinkles or gray hair, despite their age.
Wow.
Just radiating vitality and peace. Their diet gets mentioned too. Fresh fruits, exotic vegetables. Key to their health, supposedly.
And how did Julian feel being there?
Like a homecoming. That's the word used.
Yeah.
A place of simplicity, serenity, harmony.
What a contrast to his old life.
Totally. Night and day.
So these sages, they had ancient wisdom to share. How did they pass it on? Not like a lecture, I imagine.
No, definitely not. Yogi Raman, the head sage, he understood the depth of these teachings.
Right.
So to make it stick, make it really impactful, he shared it through a mystical fable.
A story.
Clever?
Yeah. A fable with 7 key symbols, each one representing a core virtue, a principle for changing your life.
Okay, 7 symbols. Let's unpack them. What's the first one?
The first is the garden.
The garden. And that symbolizes...
My mind. The idea is your mind is like this fertile garden.
Okay.
If you cultivate it, plant good seeds, positive thoughts, inspiration, it thrives. You get peace, joy.
But if you neglect it?
Then the weeds take over. Worries, fears, anxieties, negative self-talk. They choke out the good stuff. Inner peace is lost.
Like dumping toxic waste in your own garden, as the book says. Those negative thoughts are poison.
Exactly. It even mentions that the ancient word for worry was close to the word for a funeral pyre.
Wow.
Shows how worry just drains the mind and injures the soul. But the big takeaway Julian got was this.
What's that?
There's only one thing we have total control over.
Our thoughts.
Our thoughts. That's it. Seems simple, but it's huge.
Yeah, when you're stuck worrying, it doesn't feel like you're in control. I know. But realizing you can choose your thoughts, that's powerful.
Yeah.
It means your perspective shapes your reality.
So choosing to see the good, the cup half full idea.
Exactly. That's presented as like a fundamental law. Find the positive even in tough situations.
That's like the Malika Chan story in the book, finding lessons after the fire.
Precisely. Even tragedy can offer growth if you look. It's also about blueprinting.
Blueprinting.
Creating things twice. First in the mind imagination, intention, then in reality.
Ah, okay.
So let go of the past, dare to dream big, and really expect the best. And words have power, right? Patanjali's quote.
Words are the verbal embodiment of power. Yeah. Okay, fascinating. So from the garden, we move to the lighthouse.
The lighthouse, symbolizing purpose. The core message here is blunt. The purpose of life is a life of purpose.
Simple, direct.
Yeah, finding and living your life work, your real calling that brings lasting fulfillment, not just chasing external stuff.
There's that line, you will never be able to hit a target that you cannot see.
That one really lands, doesn't it? It just highlights how crucial it is to set clear goals.
Not just work goals.
No, personal, professional, spiritual goals. Yogi Raman had his peace of mind, self-mastery, enlightenment.
And living with purpose gives you energy.
Tons of energy, enthusiasm.
Yeah.
You stop wasting time on things that drain you, those energy leaks. You become more present.
It acts like a filter for your decisions, maybe.
That's a great way to put it. A filter. And it links to self-reflection.
How so?
Just taking 10 minutes a day to check in. Are you aligned with your purpose? How can you improve?
Right.
And that connects to the ancient rule of 20.
The 80-20 rule.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Focus on the 20% of activities that give you 80% of your meaningful results. Your purpose helps you find that 20%.
Got it. Deliberate action guided by purpose. Okay, symbol 3, the sumo wrestler. That feels different.
It does. The sumo wrestler stands for Kaizen.
The Japanese idea. Constant improvement.
Exactly. Constant, never-ending self-expansion. The key idea is self-mastery is the DNA of life mastery, meaning real success, lasting success on the outside, has to start inside. Mastering yourself, your character, your habits.
So it's not just achieving things, it's about cultivating yourself, mind, body, soul.
Yes, you can't really lead others or even nurture your family well if you haven't mastered yourself first.
The book asks that question, right? How can you lead a company if you can't lead yourself?
Exactly. And a big part of this is identifying weaknesses and facing your fears.
Facing fears, never easy.
No, but the book reframes it. Fear is nothing more than a mental monster you have created.
A mental monster implies you built it so you can tear it down.
Precisely. You have the power. And the wisdom shared is that truly happy people are willing to delay instant gratification.
To do the hard work?
Yeah, to tackle those weaknesses, face those fears for long-term growth and fulfillment.
Okay, but how do you build that inner strength, that discipline? Does that lead to the next symbol, the pink wire cable?
It does. The pink wire cable represents developing self-discipline and willpower.
Pink wire.
Yeah, think of a strong steel cable. It's not one thick piece, right?
No, it's lots of thin wires wound together.
Exactly. Individually, one thin wire is weak, but together, super strong.
Ah, I see the analogy.
Building an iron will is the same. It comes from small, consistent acts of discipline day after day.
When spiderwebs unite, they tie up a lion.
That's the proverb used. Small efforts accumulate into massive strength.
And controlling thoughts is key here, too.
Absolutely central. Again, thoughts are vital, living things. You're the programmer of your mind.
So what techniques did they suggest?
Opposition thinking. Catching a negative thought and immediately swapping it for a positive, empowering one.
Consciously replacing them.
Yes. And mantras, positive affirmations. Repeating them changes your self-image, your actions. Verbal embodiment of power, again.
Like programming yourself with positive code.
Kind of. Yogi Raman's vow of silence is an example, too. Resisting the impulse to speak builds willpower.
So willpower isn't fixed. It's like a muscle.
Exactly. You build it by using it. Every small victory, every time you choose discipline over impulse, it gets stronger, creates momentum.
Okay, makes sense. Symbol 5, the stopwatch. Seems pretty straightforward.
It does. The stopwatch is about time, our most precious commodity, the sages call it.
The great equalizer.
The great leveler, yeah. Everyone gets the same 24 hours. Rich, poor, doesn't matter.
And mastering time is mastering life.
That's the idea. It's non-renewable. Once it's gone, it's gone. Guard it carefully.
But it's not about becoming a stressed-out workaholic, right?
No, not at all. The book stresses that truly productive people aren't necessarily working more hours. They're just more efficient.
How so?
By managing time well, they actually create more space for the important things: family, health, learning, reflection.
So it's about conscious scheduling.
Right.
Scheduling your life.
Yes. Blocking out time for what truly matters, not just letting the urgent crowd out the important.
Which links to things like the ritual of solitude you mentioned earlier.
Exactly. That's a scheduled pit stop for the soul. Deliberate time for quiet reflection in your sanctuary of the self.
Right.
The ancient rule of 20 comes up again, too. Focus your precious time on high-impact activities.
And what about procrastination? We all do it.
The book acknowledges its human nature. But productive people cultivate the habit of just doing the difficult things anyway, pushing through.
And that deathbed mentality reminder.
Yeah, that's powerful. Don't live like you have 500 years. Don't put off what matters.
Plant the tree today.
The second best time is today.
Exactly.
Every minute counts.
A strong call to action. Okay, number 6, the yellow roses.
Yellow roses. These represent living fully in the present moment.
Being here now.
Yes, the past is history, the future is imagination. The most important moment is now.
But our minds wander, don't they? Worrying about the past, anxious about the future.
Constantly. The source acknowledges that. Fretting over yesterday, stressing about tomorrow.
But we can be present sometimes.
We can. Think about times you were totally absorbed. Deep work, a great conversation, playing a sport, being in nature. Julian felt it in court sometimes, or playing soccer as a kid.
So cultivate that state more often.
That's the goal. And there's a really touching lesson shared. Live your children's childhood. Julian's personal regret about missing time with his daughter because he was chasing success. It's a powerful illustration.
The cost of being physically there but mentally absent.
Exactly. Prioritizing making a lot of money over making a lot of life.
That phrase again, making a lot of life, hits hard.
It really does.
Yeah.
Gratitude is tied into this too. Finding things to be thankful for right now, even when things are tough.
And the story of Peter and the magic thread.
Ah, yes. Yeah. Pulling the thread to speed up time, wishing away the present, only to find he'd missed his entire life.
A cautionary tale about rushing through things.
Definitely. The message is, awaken to the gift of living today. Enjoy the process, the journey, not just fixating on the destination.
Savor the moments. Okay. And the final symbol, number 7, the path of diamonds.
The path of diamonds. This represents the ultimate purpose, the highest aim.
Which is?
Selfless service, contribution to others.
Oh.
As the quote goes, everything that lives, lives not alone, not for itself. Making a contribution is what adds true richness and meaning to life.
So thinking daily about how to help others.
Yes. Meditating on it. Conscious acts of kindness, praise, warmth, listening, nurturing friendships.
It's about finding your unique gift.
And giving it. The belief is we're all here for a special reason. Find your calling and share it.
And the Taj Mahal analogy fits here.
Beautifully. An incredible creation wasn't built overnight. It was day by day, block by block.
Small victories leading to large ones.
Exactly. Cultivating positive habits daily builds that life overflowing with wonders, a life of contribution.
Back to the daily practice again.
Always. And this section wraps up with that incredibly powerful quote.
The one about what lies within.
Yeah. For what lies behind you and what lies in front of you matters little when compared to what lies within you.
Wow. That really sums up Julian's whole transformation, finding that inner core.
It does.
But the book doesn't just leave us with symbols, right? It gives concrete steps, the 10 rituals.
Yes, absolutely. The 10 rituals for radiant living. These are the practical tools, the daily actions based on the sage's wisdom.
Designed to be done
Just
daily.
about an hour a day is this suggestion. And doing them for 30 days can create significant shifts.
Can you list them quickly?
Sure. Ritual of solitude, ritual of physicality like yoga, breathing,
Yeah.
ritual of nourishment, healthy eating, ritual of abundant knowledge, keep learning, ritual of personal reflection, checking in, ritual of early awakening, starting the day right, ritual of music, using uplifting sound, ritual of spoken word affirmations, mantras,
Got it.
ritual of congruent character, living your values, and finally, the ritual of simplicity, cutting out the clutter.
So those rituals are how you actually apply the wisdom of the symbols day to day.
Exactly. They're the bridge. They're how you tend the garden, strengthen the cable, manage the stopwatch, appreciate the roses, and walk the path of diamonds. A practical framework.
This has been incredibly insightful, really diving into Julian's journey and that timeless wisdom.
It really shows that transformation is possible, doesn't it? Moving from an ordinary, maybe even empty life to something extraordinary.
But it takes work, inner work, daily practice,
For sure. These symbols, these rituals, they act like anchors, like a compass,
guiding you towards purpose, discipline, peace, joy.
helping you unlock that potential that's already there inside you.
Okay. As we start to wrap up this deep dive, let's just take a moment. Let's pause.
Good idea.
We've covered a lot Julian's story. The 7 symbols, the 10 rituals. It's rich material.
It can feel like a lot to take in at once.
Exactly. But remember, transformation doesn't happen by trying to do everything overnight. It starts small. Always one step. So I invite you now, just for this moment, take a slow, deep breath and just reflect on everything we've discussed. The garden, the lighthouse, Kaizen, willpower, time, the present moment, contribution, the rituals. What single idea, or maybe one small practice, really resonated with you? What sparked something? What feels like your inner compass is gently pointing towards right now? Don't overwhelm yourself thinking about everything you could do. Just listen for that one whisper, that one thing that feels relevant now. And then just gently consider, could you commit to exploring just that one small step? Maybe later today, maybe sometime this week. That single intentional step taken right now in the present, that's how the journey to a more extraordinary, purposeful life begins. The potential, remember, is already within you, waiting.